Okay. What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Guys, we are going to talk about on today this show that's going to be coming out on Disney Plus. It's by Disney Pixar, and it's called Win or Lose. And it's causing a bit of a dust up, and we want to talk about this. I want to get your opinion on what's going on here, because apparently this show is going to be featuring, as one of its characters, it's animated, as one of its characters, a transgender girl. Okay, so it's going to be featuring this, and it's been trumpeted, it's been praised for this. However, it turns out they are going to pull this character from the show. They're going to cut back on one of the character's storylines, at least. I think the character is actually still going to be on the show. It's just not going to be transgender anymore. Okay, which is a bit confusing to me, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But anyway, they're going to be pulling the whole transgender angle, and this has caused a bit of a uproar among people who are saying that Disney is they're a bunch of cowards, you know, and they're hypocrites, because they tout this thing where they're always talking about diversity and equity and inclusion, and we all are welcome here. So why Disney Pixar would you do this? Well, the transgender actor or performer, voice actor, is speaking out. And I want to get into this because I want to get your opinion on what this person is saying. And I also want to use this as an opportunity to once again further my opinion, my talking point, that ultimately Disney Pixar, none of them really care about what they're talking about. You've heard me talk about this so many times. It's all performative. It's all virtue signaling. But anyway, let's get into this. And this is on deadline.com. And the headline says, Win or lose, transgender actress speaks out after Disney cuts her storyline. She's very disheartened, it says. Now, I guess this goes back to 2020, because it's starting there. In 2020, Chanel Stewart was scrolling through X when she happened upon a post about how Pixar was looking for an authentic 14-year-old transgender girl to voice a transgender teenager in a new animated series. She was 14 at the time. She had done a few commercials, but she knew in a minute, in a second, instantly, that this was her role of a lifetime. And Chanel says, I was exactly what they wanted to a T, and that's why it felt so right. It felt just so right, says Stewart, who is a transgender girl from Los Angeles. I immediately asked my mom if I could do it, because I just felt like if I don't do this, it wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean? Note, she asked her mother. She didn't ask her father. I'm just saying, I don't know if her father is in the picture or not, but there it is. Stewart eventually scored the voiceover job in Win or Lose, which revolves around a co-ed softball team at a middle school named the Pickles. The Pickles, in the week leading up to their big championship game. Stewart couldn't wait to share the news with her friends. Oh my God! It was crazy. The now 18-year-old recalls, I wore it as a badge. I wore it with pride. I wore it with honor because it meant so much to me. The thought of authentically portraying a transgender teenage girl made me really happy. I wanted to make this for transgender kids like me. Yes, all 0.3 of the population of them. Yes, I'm sure they would have been very happy to see themselves being represented. So when Disney called Monday night to tell her mom, Keisha, not her father, Rodney, I don't know if her father's name is Rodney or not, but her mom, her father is not even mentioned in this, like I said before. So they called Monday night to tell her mom, Keisha, that Win or Lose would no longer include a transgender storyline. Now, both mom and Chanel were heartsick. Disney released a statement. Pay attention here. Disney released a statement to explain, saying, when it comes to animated content for a younger audience, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline. Since when? Since when? But we'll get into that in a minute. But you got to remember that talking point, guys. Going back now to Chanel, it was very upsetting. Oh no, this is the mother, Keisha. It was very upsetting because my daughter is transgender and this is her life. I felt like it was very important that we not hide that fact. Stewart's mom, Keisha, tells Deadline, I wonder how Stewart's dad feels about this. You'll never know. There may be some parents out there who are not ready to have that conversation, but this is the world that we live in, and everyone should be represented. Everyone deserves to be recognized, and it felt like this was just another setback for the LGBTQ community because it's very hard on transgender teenagers, transgender people, period. Especially when you're young and you're trying to figure out how to navigate this world that you live in and be able to grow into your own person. That's very ironic because that's what the vast majority of young people are trying to do when they sit down and watch this type of programming, when they watch these shows on Disney Plus, on Nickelodeon, on Disney babies, whatever's out there. The vast majority of little ones are just that. They're trying to navigate this world that they live in and be able to grow into their own person without the power of suggestion, dare I say, grooming. Okay, now I'm not blaming Chanel or her mother Keisha for the fact that these industry people tend to want to groom these young ones. It's not your fault. You're being exploited is what it is. Okay, but that's what's going on. You're being used, you're being exploited, and there it is. And really, if they can't make a profit off of it, if they can't make money off of it, then they don't have much use for it. And there you go. You're just another victim, Chanel. And it goes on to say, I was very disheartened at Stewart. From the moment I got the script, I was excited to share my journey, to help empower other trans youth. I knew this would be a very important conversation. Trans stories matter, and they deserve to be heard. This is not a trans story, by the way. This is just a character that is put in there. And while she's going on and on about seeing herself and representing herself, from what I can tell, maybe I'm wrong, but every time I Google this thing, some little white girl pops up. Now, you see the thumbnail, Chanel is not a little white girl. So if in fact she is voicing a little white girl, well, you're not really representing yourself in the first place. Okay? Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows who you look like when you're doing voice acting. By cutting the transgender storyline, Disney eliminated a few lines of dialogue from an episode that references a character's gender identity. Of course, because that's not largely what the show is about. So it's just a few lines of dialogue that identifies her or he or whatever as being transgender. Stewart was not at liberty to share the details with Deadline about her character, but was told by Disney that she's still a part of the show heavily. It's just that the character will now be a cis girl, a straight cis girl, says Chanel Stewart, who is rep by Key Talent Management and Innovative Artists. So yeah, that's all they really told me, and that I was still a part of the show. So it's not like she lost her job. It's not like the character got eliminated, but it is no longer identifiable as transgender. It is now a cis girl. And from what I can see, maybe I'm wrong, a little cis white girl. So the point that I was talking about earlier that actually confuses me about this is that there's a lot of transgender people out there that insist that you accept them as they identify. So if she is identifying as a little girl, a little straight girl, well, she's getting an opportunity to do that behind the guise of an animated series. So nobody can actually see who she is, where she came from, what she looks like in real life. All right. So maybe she put too many of her eggs in this basket of representation and visibility. When you're doing voice acting, you're not getting in any of those things. You're just voice acting. Maybe she needs to break into live acting if she wants to take a stand like that. But there's one more thing that Disney can't take away from Stewart. I'm definitely one of the first transgender girls to do this, says Stewart of our voiceover gig. It's a true honor to be part of the queer community. Now, this show is going to be coming on, it says on February 19th of 2025. So if you care to watch that with your kids, go on and check it out. But listen, I've been making this point for a long time. Everything that Disney and these Hollywood types do, it's all performative. That's all it is. They actually did a study about this. The leading think tank in the country said that what they're doing with these shows as far as equity and inclusion, it's all performative. It means nothing. It's all exploitation. It means nothing. We owe Disney no thanks or, any of these things. I've been talking about this with black people forever. No black person is asking to be race swapped, with these established white characters. No, it's not. It doesn't serve our interests because ultimately all it makes us all look like are a bunch of intruders. All right. Now she says that she's one of the first transgender girls to do this, but how do you know? Especially when it comes to a voiceover, there could be quite a few of them, and actually, there are, because when you look at shows like the Loud House, there are like so many shows out there right now where they're pushing the LGBTQ agenda. It's out there. And the reason why I know that Disney isn't really about that life is because there's a lot of us who have been making this point forever, that we want to raise our kids our way. We want to introduce them to these topics and these themes in our own time. We've been talking about this for years and they didn't care. They continued to push. The only reason why they care now is because they're reading the room. They're understanding that right now the temperature is beginning to change as far as the atmosphere when it comes to these things. They saw what happened with Lightyear, things like that. So they're thinking, of course, about the bottom line is what it is. They don't care about, your feelings, Chantel, or anybody else out there like you. They don't care about your feelings, black people, or anybody else out there like you who think that, oh, it's just great that they're doing all of this race swapping. They don't care. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this. This is the reason why they shrank down John Boyega on the poster, for The Last Jedi and for The Rise of Skywalker, whatever it was. They shrank him down. They're not really about that, guys. They're not looking out for our interests. They don't care at all, at all. Okay? And this is just another example of that. When it affects their bottom line, when it affects their money, they jump ship. They don't care about any of this stuff. Okay? So, once again, the takeaway has to be either do your own thing, come up with your own stories, or just wake up and stop being so damn deluded into thinking that these people are actually on your side. All right, guys. So anyway, that's the story. You guys can get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this story, about win or lose and a transgender character and all of this stuff and things that we've been talking about forever. How nobody really wants to see this. It's a very, very small percentage of people. And this is the reason why, in my opinion, they're doing this, because quite frankly, it's all about grooming. It's all about conditioning. It's about programming. So, and of course, exploiting it for money, monetary purposes as well. So anyway, guys, get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. As always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. And guys, if you want to contribute to the channel, hit the super thanks feature. I won't be making any money off of this channel. YouTube has decided that I'm just not the one. They don't push me. I keep hearing people tell me they don't get notifications from me. It's always the same, maybe 1, 2, 300 out of over 13,000 that I have subscribed to me. So it just tells me right there's something wrong. But for those of you who do get the notifications, who do come back, and who do contribute to the channel, thank you guys very much. I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.